When does the government draw the line with sexualization of children? Here in America, it's drawn closer than others, but in Japan, the sexualization of young kids has no line drawn. And how long will it be before America takes after Japan? After all, sex sells. In Japan, the sex industry focuses primarily on children, specifically in two ways, and these two ways are:
schoolgirl culture is one of the largest problems in Japan, along with idols. It's where young girls at ages of 13 through 18 in their high school years do activities with older men who are usually in their 60s or older. Usually the girls state their activities, and the most common ones are fortune-telling, walking, and chatting. However, these activities will get sexual and fast. Because of how Japan views children in such a sexual way, there's certain sites that a man can go to book sessions with girls working under a boss, masked by cute, safe activities when they will actually be sexual. Idols are another topic, but are essentially the same thing. What idols do is sing and dance for their fans. One of the largest idol groups in Japan, or in the entire nation, would be AKB48. Originally, they had 48 girls, hence the name, but now, girls view being an idol as one of the only jobs they can get, so their numbers have raised to above the hundreds. Idols are incredibly sexualized despite being super young, especially with AKB48 in their music video, Heavy Rotation. It shows young girls in lingerie covered in sticky fluids, and the youngest girl in the video, at the time, was 13. Others not much older.
If America realizes that this type of industry sells, what will happen? It's already enough of an issue here.
In Japan, people view girls as a fetish. Fetishism can spread fast and quick, along with schoolgirls and idols. There is also something called lolicon, which has quickly spread into the US. The concept behind lolicon is perhaps the worst. What it is drawn pornographic content of children that haven't hit puberty. The artists in Japan who draw this have been called out many times, but Japan's government doesn't care, and they have said that it will only increase the amount of children being molested in Japan if they get rid of this venting system.
In fact, many lolicon artists and Japanese men have claimed that banning all three of these topics or enforcing stricter laws on all three of these things will cause people to go and actually molest kids. However, this isn't the case in both Japan and here in America.
With these things becoming more and more wild and well known, it gets worse here where we are. Many people on the internet, statistically speaking in the US, have been caught buying this thing known as lolicon. The physical books being inspected and claimed as child pornography. But the internet is void of all things. It can easily be accessed. And that's why we are worried sick that the government isn't taking more action here in the US and in Japan. 12.3% of women were aged 10 or younger at the time of their first rape/victimization, and 30% of women were between the ages of 11 and 17 here in the US. And what Japan is creating can add onto it. Abusers and rapists can use it to make their young victims feel like it's okay because everyone does it.
According to police in Japan, a record 1,313 children were victims of child pornography, up 45.1% from the previous year. The number of cases investigated totaled up to 2,097, up to 8.2%, with those involving perpetrators reaching 1,531, up 3.2%, the highest since statistics began in 2000. In the US, in the same year, officials report that CSA had also gone up. Could it have been done using the same method? Officials wouldn't know because it's not hard to hide your internet history.
Through whatever means, sexualizing children in any part of the world isn't acceptable. There's nothing about a child that should be considered sexy to adults, regardless of racial background or ethnicity. If you support Japan's business, you're supporting children in harm. Show some clips.
Another topic that addresses sexualizing children that's come to the US from Japan is maid cafes, where in Japan, underage girls dress up in maid costumes and talk cutesy to their customers, calling them master. One shop had recently opened up in the US, Maid Cafe New York, and employs girls who are above age, but who's to say that this won't happen with underage girls here as well? After all, we have things like...
When we're going in this state, the US and Japan doesn't seem to be very different.
Our proposed solution for this controversial topic would be to see to it that children won't get sexualized in media anymore. In Japan, this is harder because we are not living there and it's embedded deep within the roots of society, going back to the Edo period. But for us, it is different. We can find a way to change it and make society realize that the concept of sexualizing children is wrong.
However, there can be many counterclaims to this, especially in the US, where people defend child pageants. A quote from Phyllis Jones: "I was trying to give my daughter Megan exposure for public speaking. When she was young, she was shy, and I wanted to have her develop her own personality." Psychologists suggest that children who compete in pageants are not only very sexualized, which has an impact on their psyches, but it also distorts kids' self-images. Psychologists also believe that it is the parents, usually the mother's, idea to put their daughter or son into pageants because they have not fulfilled their own dreams. Why put your child through something that they will suffer from?
There are people at stake here, stakeholders, one would call them. For this, it would be children all around the world from very young ages. This type of society can highly impact a child's views, their self-esteem, and how much they value themselves as people, along with their dreams. If a child grows up in a sexualized environment, it could change who they are forever. Children could grow up into adults that don't know what to do.
What can we as people do to help? What can we do if we're called to action? We can do many things like raise awareness through education, learn about psychology in school to help us realize these things when we're parents so we don't mess our children up. Call out things that sexualize children. Don't let it stay on the internet or up at all. Report it to local police services because it is illegal. Let others know about what goes on. Tell them everything. Open their eyes and make them aware. Let kids know that it's okay to just be kids, regardless of what happens to them and what they've been through.
What we do now can make a difference. With that being said, for our final closing statement, we'll show a scene from idol group BIS, which is an idol group who is against sexualization of children in Japan and the US, and we will be showing their song Die, which represents children who are closeted and forced to be in sexual situations with things they don't want to do.